Hi there, I'm Ashley Phillips and I'm the founder of the Kelowna EMDR Clinic. And today we're going to go through Reddit and kind of go through some people's experiences, comments, or questions about EMDR therapy. First up, we have someone sharing their experience of doing EMDR by themselves. What I kind of noticed in this particular thing is that it's not exactly EMDR. It's kind of like EMDR adjacent. Is when someone is using the bilateral stimulation of sounds like headphones, like going one in ear through the other, and maybe tapping at the same time when they are experiencing maybe some anxiety, depression, or discomfort. When we're looking at EMDR is an 8-phase protocol. It includes history taking, preparation, assessment, desensitization, installation, body scan, closure, and reevaluation. This part right here is just part of a little bit of desensitization, and that's it. So it's not the full comprehensive thing. I've done a series talking about the 8 phases of EMDR, and I'll link them in the description below. If we do EMDR by ourselves, the spectrum of what can happen is going to really vary from person to person, as it really depends on our history and what has gone on in our lives. What can happen is that people can start to dissociate. They can start to experience derealization, experience depersonalization. They might have increase in suicidal thoughts. It can be a very deeply activating therapy. It can start to unlock some of memories that might be coming up, and it can make things much worse. And that is not what we want. We want to have this done safely, so we need to have that therapist to guide you through the process, to ensure that we're staying within our window of tolerance and can stay within the container of what our nervous system can tolerate. When we're doing it on our own, we don't know what that is. We don't have that skill set to maybe contain things when we need to, or to stop when we need to. One of the inherent things about doing EMDR alone is that we can go much further than what our nervous system is prepared for, and this can cause significant psychological harm to us. Next up, there's a question around therapist doesn't do EMDR himself. What it looks like here is that the therapist that this person sees, they are not certified in EMDR, but their assistant is. So when I looked at this, what's really standing out for me is, number one, the assistant. Who are they? Secondly, they say that their only qualifications is considered a preliminary stage to EMDR. So it sounds like this person may not be a trained EMDR therapist, and that is a very big red flag. So bottom line, do not do this therapy with someone who is not certified. In the description below, I'll link you to EMDR, and there you can look up therapists who have their training. Next up, with this person, they're feeling like they're not traumatized enough for EMDR and feel like they're wasting their therapist's time. Can anyone relate? I would say absolutely. There are many people who come to EMDR that have like the big T traumas that you've talked about, but also people that have had small t traumas, but these things have impacted them. It's actually getting in the way of their life, whether it's belief systems, emotions, body sensations, and more. So it is okay to go to EMDR therapy, even if it's like not that big of a deal. I would recommend that you talk to your therapist about the feelings that you're having about this, the feelings of guilt and the feelings of shame of coming to therapy. This could be actually a really great target to work with so that you actually don't feel bad about getting the support and help that you need. Next up, stages of the EMDR journey. And the person is really curious about is that they've read about hitting a low before getting to the finish line. So they've done a lot of work with EMDR, they feel really great, and now they're kind of hitting this kind of low and kind of getting into a bit of depressive state. I would say with EMDR, it's really like this. There are some times we feel really great after, and sometimes we're in a bit of an EMDR hangover. What could be going on here is that as we're doing the reprocessing, we're hitting upon some deeper levels and deeper layers of things that are now kind of showing up. So as a therapist, I would be curious about this. I would be curious about what's going on, what the triggers are, how it's showing up, when is it worse, when is it better, to kind of get like a bit of a mapping about what's going on. In my own personal experience, so yes, I do see my own EMDR therapist, and I have gone for EMDR intensives. So we're talking 9 a.m. till 4 p.m. doing the work. I've had one experience where I felt really amazing after. It cleared up so much. It was fantastic. I was like, God, I love this work. And I had another intensive where I felt awful after. Really felt not great. And I was in that very much that low period. And I did have to work pretty hard on doing those things that I know that I needed to do in order to get better. Things like going for a swim and being outside and going to the beach, because I'm so fortunate here where I live, the beach is very close by. Getting out for bike rides and connecting with friends. So with this depressive state, I'm going to encourage you to be curious, like what is showing up? Where is it getting activated? What thoughts are going through your mind? Like really being gently curious about these depressive states. And this can be another launch point for what's going on in your EMDR therapy sessions. Next up, there's a question around suicidal thoughts and EMDR therapy. You know, EMDR is tough work, that's for sure. And there's a phrase that I really love that says with EMDR therapy, we drive according to the conditions. I always encourage my people to tell me if they're having suicidal thoughts, because what it may mean is slowing down, like using our brakes a bit, but we don't have to actually stop reprocessing. We might really, really contain it, make it smaller. And we want to work on those regulation strategies on how to help you in between sessions and noticing these thoughts and getting you the help and support that we need. So absolutely, I would always really encourage my people to talk to me if they're having these experiences, because it tells me kind of also like what's going on, helps me to map things out quite a bit, and that we can slow down the process so it's enough for the nervous system, but not too much. That's the really big thing with EMDR, is that we have like EMD, EMD little r, and EMD big R. Like there's a spectrum within EMDR therapy that a therapist can use to slow things down if it's too much for a person's nervous system and if it's too much for the parts. We may need to do some ego state work or IFS therapy in addition to like EMDR. It all kind of works together. So absolutely talk to your therapist about this. Finally, we have a question around if EMDR therapy is safe. EMDR is a safe therapy if it is done well. That's always the key thing. And how do we know if it's going to be done well? We are looking for someone who is a certified EMDR therapist, or that they've taken their basic training with an EMDR approved program. One of the challenges that this person has identified is around the financial strain of therapy, and absolutely, I 100% understand that. I'm going to suggest looking at nonprofits, contacting therapists to see if they have a scholarship rate or a sliding scale rate, going to your local hospital, seeing if they provide programs. So kind of like we have to do some some digging, asking around to finding out who provides EMDR therapy at least on a sliding scale, pro bono basis, depending on the financial situation. If you have any questions or curiosities about EMDR therapy, just put them in the comments below and hit subscribe so you're aware of when we post our next video. Until then.